Okay. Okay, we're live.
Yay!
Showtime! Hi everyone,
Showtime!
Woo! Hi
and we're
everyone.
live.
Hello!
Hi.
Welcome back to the Tokyo State of Mind live session, where a podcast to make you feel good about yourself and your life in Japan, to bringing amazing guests and sharing their amazing, invaluable stories and experiences with you. Thanks everyone for watching. We're happy to see every single guest on this live session that is brought with love, structure, and a lot of support. On this live next, we will talk about um, a a scholarship that is not many people really know about, which is MEXT for Special Training College. And today on board we have Austin Zeng, MEXT Scholarship Association President, our all-time guest at our live session. Hi, Austin.
Hi. Merry Christmas, I guess. Well, I'm one day late, but yeah. Mhm.
So, especially for you guys to talk about MEXT. For Special Training College, we have our new friend from Costa Rica, a very, very energetic and amazing, beautiful Instagrammer, Jocelyn, a freshly selected MEXT scholar from Specialized Training College. Hi, Jocelyn. Thank you so much for joining.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, we love your energy. Amazing. And of course, your all-time hosts who are always curious and adventurous to help you out, which is me, Kamida, and Katya. Hi.
Hello!
So we're happy that you joined us, and at the end of the session, as always, we will have Q&A session by selecting the questions from the comments. Before we start the episode, we strongly encourage you guys to follow Tokyo State of Mind, um, which is our podcast right here. So, um, okay. This session is brought with support, love support structure, and we will, for the last, before we start, I'm going to tell that um, a disclaimer: we do not work for MEX, so everything that we're talking about today is um, something that we want to share from our experiences, and we're really hoping you enjoy the session. Don't forget to leave the comments, so we will at the end of the session talk about that. And first, let's start with Jocelyn telling about what is MEX for Special Training College.
Okay, so this scholarship is a 3 year scholarship in which you get to study 1 year Japanese and then 2 years you go to a specialized training college. And in my case, I chose broadcasting arts. So I did study 1 year Japanese. And right now I'm at the college studying broadcasting arts. In 2 years, I'm gonna graduate and hopefully get a job.
Yay! Sounds fun.
So,
Jocelyn, when did you come to Japan? Your
I came last year.
Okay. Last
Yeah,
April, right?
April.
Ah, okay.
Oh, I forgot to say. I don't know if the people watching know, but this max scholarship is given by the government of Japan. So pretty much, they give you an allowance, monthly allowance, for you to live in Japan and study in Japan. So it's an amazing opportunity for those who want to travel to Japan and also for those who are interested in studying in Japan.
I see. So, yeah, can you tell us more in details about like procedure? How did you apply the documents? What are the requirements for these scholarships?
Okay, so first, when you apply for a MEXT scholarship, well, one thing you need to know is that depending on your country, you should go to the embassy of Japan in your country, or you can also look at the website for the scholarship section, and the requirements are probably gonna change depending on the country. In my case, I'm from Costa Rica. So the requirements they write are like first nationality. That means like you have to be Costa Rican. You cannot be a foreigner living in Costa Rican. If you're a foreigner living in Costa Rica and you want to apply for the MEXT scholarship, you have to go back to your country and apply at the embassy of your country, at the embassy of Japan in your country. And then the second requirement is being on around 18 years old or 24 years old. Like you cannot be younger and you cannot be older than that. The third requirement is to have a senior high school degree. You have to be graduated from school. And the last one, which is a very important one, is to have advanced English and basic Japanese. And a lot of people might be thinking, but if I'm going to Japan to study Japanese, can I have like zero knowledge in Japanese and still apply? Well, that's a possibility. You can do that, but honestly, I don't recommend that because after a year of studying Japanese, you go to these um, technical college and every single class is in Japanese. So if you just studied 1 year, like let's say uh, beginners level of Japanese, when you start the specialized training college, it's gonna be pretty hard for you to cope up and to be with the others because you're gonna be probably surrounded just by Japanese. That's my case. All my classmates are Japanese, and other people other people have more foreigner classmates, but not me. So that really depends. I don't know, maybe on what you choose to study. But yeah, I would recommend you to know basics when you apply for the scholarship.
Okay, I see. Thank you. So, what about basically you need to to finish school, high school, right?
Yeah.
To apply for this scholarship. So, what were the exams that you took?
Well, every in my country, the Manbuka Gakusho MEXT scholarships are five.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ones the embassy promotes are five, and for each scholarship there are different procedures, different requirements, different tests. In my case, for the specialized training college, I took three tests. One was a math test, an English test, and a Japanese test. So three.
And for example, Japanese test is compulsory. You cannot skip that.
uh, can you repeat that again?
So the Japanese language test is compulsory. You have to take that. You cannot avoid that. If you don't know any Japanese, you can just.
I mean, I'm not quite sure about that because, as far as I understand, you can like take just two tests. I think, but maybe you might have to take them all. And in the case that you're really, really bad at Japanese and you get like a really, really bad grade, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not gonna receive the scholarship. Because when I got here last year, I had a few classmates that never in their lives studied Japanese before coming to Japan, and they didn't even know the simple greetings like konnichiwa, arigato. They didn't know that, so they came with zero knowledge of Japanese, and still they got the scholarship and they started studying Japanese here. But the problem is that the reason why I recommend to know basic Japanese is because even when you start studying Japanese in Japan, your Japanese lessons are going to be in Japanese. So it's going to be hard to understand, like, if you don't know anything. So, yeah, it's, I think it's better to know a little bit, at least, of basic Japanese before applying.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna be a big advantage for you because you show that you're interested in this country, you're interested in the
Yeah,
language,
Yeah.
and so
yeah,
on.
yeah.
I see. So actually, we previously we did this online streaming about undergraduate
Mhm.
school. So how does it differ? What kind of disciplines do you study at the special technical college?
I think the difference it's probably time and the kind of degree that you get at the end when you graduate. Because in the specialized training college, you only study for 2 years. A lot of people don't know this, but with this scholarship, you have the possibility to extend it and to go to an university. So, for example, usually universities in Japan are 4 years.
Mhm.
And if you study at a specialized training college, you're going to study for 2 years. So you can apply at a university and try to get into the third year. The thing is
Mhm.
that to get into the third year, you need like a lot of credits. So even if you graduate from the specialized training college, those credits are not enough, and you have to get like extra lessons at your school or something to
Mhm.
have enough credits to apply for the third year of university. So if you apply and you get in, you can finish your studies at the university and get an university degree of what you chose at the beginning in your scholarship. So I would say it's very similar to undergraduate if
Mhm.
you want to extend it. But if you don't extend it, you're just gonna get like a technical degree or something for 2 years. So that would be like the difference, maybe.
Mhm. 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 I guess
So
like
if you,
many, sorry, like just want to ask, like,
I'm
so I
sorry,
guess many of our, it's fine. Many of our like people actually when they hear about like a specialist training college, there's a bit of like many people don't really know what exactly this means. But maybe you could give us like examples of some subjects that like your friends, for example, are studying right now. The people who came with you.
Oh, a specialized training college is like a university. I mean, there's like a wide range of possibilities of studying anything.
Mhm.
So you can study anything, literally, like
Mhm.
science, architecture,
Mm.
cooking, bakery.
Okay.
Well, in my case, I'm studying broadcasting arts. I have some friends studying manga, business. There are also uh, technology, medicine. There are like a lot of possibilities.
Mhm.
So it's pretty similar to a university, I think,
Okay.
but
Well,
shorter.
just a few because I came from the undergraduate scholarship, so there's a few other questions I have like regarding differences, right? Do you know of anybody who actually entered Japan and skipped the Japanese year and went directly to the specialist school?
No, even
Mm.
the people that came to Japan that actually are like like mixed, like half Japanese
Yeah.
and half something. They had to take the 1 year class of Japanese,
Mm.
and the difference is that it was super easy for them because
Yeah.
they were like in the most advanced class, and still it was super easy for them. So lucky them.
I see, I see, I see. Okay. So the difference between the undergraduate scholarship and there's another like a video we have about undergraduate scholarship. People who are interested, please look at that. Is that so? Some undergraduate scholars get directly awarded by the schools when they enter Japan. There are two different routes for like the undergraduates. There's like the embassy and then there's the school, but there is no direct to school option for the specialist college, from what I understand. So everybody pretty much has to apply from their embassies, and they go through the embassy and they go through 1 year of Japanese, and then they go to like the school that you are going to be studying at, right? One question: when you received the scholarship, when you really got information about the scholarship that you were getting the scholarship, right? Did you already know which school you were going to study at?
No, at first you get an email saying that you were chosen.
Hmm.
And okay, so let me talk a little bit about the process.
Yeah.
When you do the tests and what well, I don't know the other embassies, but at least in the
Hmm.
Costa Rican embassy, in the Japan embassy in Costa Rica,
Hmm.
they choose like three highest no grades of the tests, and from those three they make an interview. And from those three, they choose one to write like a recommendation
Mhm.
letter. So uh, once they make the decision, it's like a week after you take the tests. In September, you take the tests. So a week after that, they contact you saying like, "Oh, you passed. You got the highest score.
Mhm.
So we want to make you an interview, and then we're gonna let you know if we're gonna choose you or not." So when you go through the interview and you finish and everything, I think it takes this. Well, I don't remember if it was the same day, but they tell you pretty quickly, like, "Oh, you were chosen. Congratulations. We're gonna write a recommendation letter." And what they do is that they take your tests, your math, English, Japanese tests, and they add the recommendation letter written
Mhm.
by the embassy, and they send all that to Japan. Here in Japan, the people in charge of the scholarship, they go through your tests, they check your information, they check the applications and everything you wrote, and then they decide whether to give you the scholarship or not. There is a chance that they might set that even if the embassy chose you and recommended you, there's a chance that the government on Japan doesn't give you the
Mhm.
scholarship. So yeah. What was the question again?
Yeah, so, like, so, okay, you got the final confirmation for your
Yeah,
scholarship,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Did Were you informed about the school that you were going to study at the same
Oh,
time?
yeah. I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot.
Okay.
Yes. So after that, when when the information from Japan comes saying that, "Oh, you got the scholarship, congratulations," you don't know anything, and they are like, "We're gonna contact you again to give you the information of the plane ticket and the schools." So it took like a month after telling me that I passed and everything. So I was pretty unsure, like, where am I going? What am I gonna do? So it takes a while for them to get all that information too. So, and all the information comes from the embassy.
Mhm.
So they are the ones that let you know through your email and through calls.
Mhm. So to dig a bit more about that and to compare it with the undergraduates, right? The undergraduates, for example, when we get the scholarship, we do not know which university we're going to yet. So
Which
we, yeah, so there's a difference on there, right? Because for us, we have to apply during the first year, the Japanese year. Whereas, like, so specialist college, you get the information from the embassy that after that first year of Japanese, you are going to this school.
yeah.
Ah, okay. So that's another important difference. Do you roughly know how many people are awarded the specialist college, like a scholarship in, like, for example, your year?
No, I don't really know. I think a lot of people get the specialized training college, but they're sent to different prefectures in Japan. So I could
Uh-huh.
not really tell you how
Okay.
many scholarships are given. But for the ones in my school, in my Japanese school, because I know that there are other people that get the scholarship
Mm-hmm.
and they are sent to Tokyo, but they go to different Japanese school. As
Ah,
I
okay,
don't know.
okay.
So and I think in my school we're like, I don't know, over 50 maybe. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people. So yeah, I have no idea.
I see. I just want to add a bit, like, for the people who may be wondering a bit about, so what happens after you graduate between, like, the undergraduate and specialist college. Basically, what we just heard is that the requirements to apply for the specialist college and the undergraduate are pretty much the same in terms of age, in terms of how many years of schooling you need.
Mm,
The difference is the type of degree that you graduate with. So the specialist college is a form of, like, a professional diploma, and so you can work in Japan after this as well. There is no issue, but you are only restricted to the specialty, or like the field that you
mm,
are studying inside the specialist college.
yeah.
For undergraduates, a university 4-year university degree is far more flexible in that sense. So this
Mhm.
one important thing to think about when you're considering, like, a career, or whether, if you just got the specialist college, whether you want to consider extending it into
Mm,
a 4-year degree.
mm.
Just want to add that, yeah.
If you want to extend from technical college to undergraduate for the third year, fourth year,
Mhm.
you basically have the MEXT scholarship undergraduate. How does it work?
I don't know. I
I
think it's the same, isn't it? Like, but just extended.
I think it's roughly the same because so I from what I remember the amount that a specialist training call student as well as an undergraduate student, right, that gets like per month is pretty much the same. So once you actually like complete how to put it, like so once you actually like finish like the extension and stuff like that, it pretty much becomes undergraduate scholarship. But I think I have okay so maybe like Jocelyn, you can help me with it if you know any senpais, right? Do you know of any senpais who were specialist colleges and they extended and they went to private universities?
Can you repeat? I couldn't hear very well.
So, so do you know of any senpais of yours from the
Mm,
specialist training college, right,
mm,
who extended the MEXT scholarship
mm.
and they ended up in a private university, not a public university?
Oh, I don't know. Honestly,
Can
I don't
you,
know what kind of universities they applied, but I think they were public. Maybe I'm not
hmm.
sure.
So the undergraduate scholarship, the MEXT undergraduate scholarship, right? It's only limited to public universities. So
Mm.
I think I have heard of cases. I'm not very sure before of
Mm,
specialist college students being able to extend their degree into private universities as well. But I'm not very
mm,
sure, so don't quote me on that. So that may be one difference. But in generally speaking, it merges and it becomes pretty much the same, like conditions from what I know.
mm.
Mm.
I heard from one senpai that well, she extended the scholarship this
Mhm,
year, and she told me that to the school she's going, they asked her to pay in advance, like everything. Even though she said that she's getting a scholarship and
mhm,
every month and she's gonna pay and everything, for some reason I don't know. They asked her to make a payment of 700,000 yen or something like that.
wow.
Yeah, it's a lot
That's
of
a lot.
money. Yeah, it's a lot of money in advance. So apparently, she's gonna get that money in
Back.
return or something like
Okay.
that. She told me, but I'm not sure how it works.
Mhm,
That depends on the university too. Like
mm,
there are very strict universities, and there are universities that are not like that.
mhm,
Like for extending the scholarship, I know that a lot of universities ask for credits. Right, you have
mhm,
to have certain amount of credits.
mhm,
And one senpai told me that when she extended the scholarship, she just wrote a recommendation letter from her teacher.
mhm.
So she didn't make a test. She didn't have to get credits. She just wrote that recommendation letter, and she was accepted. So I think that depends on the university you choose.
I see, I see, I see, I see, I see. Okay. Interesting, interesting.
About undergraduate, so I heard that here in Japan,
Mm,
you study like common subjects,
mhm,
but like after maybe second year, you study like your major.
mhm,
How does it work? So, I mean, if you study at the special training college, for example, you study
mhm,
art and then you want to go uh, to be an engineer, I don't know. Can you do
mhm,
that? And you want to go to the undergraduate, like prolong
mm.
your studying.
Oh, I believe that the specialist colleges, when you extend it, has to be in the same field from what you studied in the specialist college, I think, if I'm not wrong.
Mm.
Um, for the yeah, so most universities in Japan have the system. Four-year universities have the system where the first year is general education, liberal arts. Some universities may have it like in 3 semesters instead of 1 year, but yeah, my understanding is that if you are in the third year, if you are extending from a specialist college, the understanding is that you are extending your studies into a related field at least, and then you
Mm.
just go into like the third year, and you just have the same like credit requirements as somebody of the same academic year who, if I'm not wrong, maybe there's some like credit exemptions or something like that, but I'm not very sure. Probably it may be quite case by case.
Mm. Yeah, it's very not certain. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
Mm-mm.
So, Jocelyn, can you share with us like what are the tips like of passing this scholarship? Because to my mind, this scholarship is not such competitive, I would say, than rather than undergraduate. No.
I think it is. A lot of people
Yeah.
apply for this. Well, I don't know other countries, but in Costa Rica, they don't give many scholarships.
Mhm.
So they usually give like four or something. Or I don't know if there's just like four, the ones that get it. But for example, Indonesia, I've heard when my classmates came, they came like a group just for the technical specialized training college uh
Mhm.
scholarship. It was a group of, I don't know, over 10 people, I think, a lot of
Mhm.
people. In my case, in my country, I was the only one who
Mhm.
came with
Mhm.
this scholarship, so it's pretty hard to get. In my country, I don't know other countries, I guess big countries are not like that, or Asian countries are easier to get
Mhm.
the scholarship. But the tips would be, study a lot.
Mhm.
Study a lot. I think you have to have at least two from the three tests very, very high. Like, also, it depends on what you choose. Like, for example, in my case, I chose broadcasting arts, so it's not that related to math.
Mhm.
So even though my math test was not that good, I still got the scholarship because my English test was really, really good, and my Japanese test was also really good.
Mhm.
So I think you have to get at least two of the three tests with a very, very high
Mhm. Mhm.
score,
Mhm.
a very high grade. Another tip would be to, I don't know, to try to participate actively
Mhm.
in whatever the embassy does. It's good to be known, especially by the people in charge of cultural things, and the people in charge of the scholarships too. If you go to their events, if you participate at the Japanese speech contest, it would give you points in favor for them to start noticing you, and they will know that you really want to go to Japan, so they can even help you a little bit, like,
Mhm.
you want to go to Japan, right? Keep it up. Keep coming. Don't give up. You will get
Mhm.
the scholarship someday. Just keep believing in yourself.
Mhm.
So I think it's really good and really important to get along with, or try to get to know them a little bit. In my case, I did participated at the Japanese speech contest, and I got to know the one in charge of the scholarships and everything. And he was very friendly and everything. He was always telling me like, "Oh, we want you to go to Japan. Don't give up. Even if you don't get it this time, keep trying." And
Mhm.
honestly, it took me like 5 years to be able to get a scholarship. I
Mhm.
applied to different scholarships, not just Japanese specialized training college. So it was pretty hard. It's pretty hard to get. Well,
Mhm.
I guess there be lucky people that get it the first time, but it wasn't my case. I did try very hard. Another tip is that, whatever you dream of, you're the only one who can accomplish that. And even if people don't believe in you and people tell you, you're going to Japan, that's never going to happen, or things like that, don't give up. Keep trying. Believe in yourself,
Mhm.
and don't give up. Be-
Mhm.
just keep trying. Even if it takes you years to get it, you will eventually get it, because what's yours is yours. So
Mhm.
just be positive and never give up. That would be like maybe my tips. I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Should I add on a bit, like, like based on what I know about, like, like some tips for the MEXT scholarship? So the now, when you're a specialist college and you are a, like, undergrad, but this goes for both the specialist college and undergraduate, right? Like, unlike the research scholarship, you don't come with a research plan. You do not
Mm.
apply with a research plan, for example. So when the embassy looks at your application, right, for your, like, your application for both the undergraduate as well as specialist college, right, it's really like, your grades,
Oh
your
yeah.
academic transcript is going to be looked at. Then after that, like, it's your tests. So as like Jocelyn said, like, if you impress people during your tests, then you are going to be, like, like, given higher consideration. Now the interview is another thing which is also very important, because the thing is that
Mm.
people want to know why you're applying to Japan.
Yeah.
People want to know that you are committed to Japan. People want to know that you are already studying Japanese or that you already have some sort of understanding of Japan. And all these kind of things are preparations that you can do for yourself to give you that little edge versus somebody who's just applying just because it's a free scholarship. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's like these kind of things which show that you understand Japan, you know why you want to go to Japan, and you're going to Japan not just to enjoy life, but also to contribute in some way to Japan. These kind of
Yeah.
things are very important points for you to think about before you actually apply, and to have a few answers already, um, like stored up so that if people ask you during the interview, you can answer more easily. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Can I say something
go ahead.
about
Yeah.
that? I think it's very important when you fill the application, because you're asked what's your reason to go to Japan. Why do you want to go to Japan? Why do you want to study in Japan? What are you going to contribute to the world after you finish your
Mhm.
studies in Japan? So I think it's pretty important for you to stress that it's not your dream, like just to go to Japan because it's your dream, but also to think a little bit in the future and think like how is that gonna help not
Mm,
only the world but also the relationship between Japan and your country. So you have to think about that too. And in the interview, you have to know about Japan, because it wasn't the case of a specialized training college, but for other interview I applied, I was asked very specific things in Japanese about Japan, and I freaked out because I didn't know.
mm,
They asked me things like how much is the population of Japan, who was the president of Japan, how big is Japan, and like a lot of things that I think, oh my god, I don't know.
yeah.
So yeah, also they asked me how long has been the friendship between Costa Rica and Japan,
Mm, mm,
because
mm,
every
Really?
mm, mm,
year, yeah, yeah, but that
mm,
that I think that was the only one I knew.
um,
Because every year
mm,
the embassy makes like, well, I don't know in other countries, but the Japanese embassy in Costa Rica makes a lot of events, and they stress like 80 years of friendship, 84 years of friendship, and like they stress that a lot every year, and for them it's pretty important because you have to know
mm,
like when Japan started communicating with your own country and getting like diplomatic and all kind of really economic and all kind of relationships.
mm,
So you have to know a lot of things of Japan and your country too, not just Japan, but like between both of
mm,
them. Yeah, I think I was asked if I knew how big was Costa Rica, like compared to Japan, because that's something that's written in the website of the embassy of Japan in Costa Rica. So it was like, I think, a combination of Kyushu and another island.
So they check, and they basically check how accurate you checked the
Yeah, I think so.
website and so on.
Yeah, yeah, because in the website of the embassy of Japan in your country, there's a lot of information about that.
mm,
And I think they did ask about that. They wrote in their website.
mm,
So it would be a good tip if you get to pass to the interview to check the website of the embassy
mm,
and check what they have written about Japan, about your country in Japan and all that.
mm. I mentioned this in the undergraduate video, but it's a way of framing things, yeah. So one tip that I think hope that everybody please takes to note: please do not talk about your love of anime and manga specifically during the interview. It doesn't help. Why? Because the thing is that there are lots of other interviewees who are also saying the same thing, and the thing is that
Mhm.
the embassy also knows that many people are going to say the same thing. They're looking for somebody who's
Yeah.
special. They're looking for somebody who understands what Japan is and what your country is in relation to Japan.
Mm.
Whether you're just having that superficial understanding or having some depth in your understanding, and showing the depth is going to be what differentiates you from other applicants.
Yeah. I think also it helps doing extra activities. I don't know
Mm,
if you understand what I'm saying. In that moment when I was interviewed, uh Well, I remember that for the specialized training college
Mm-hmm.
interview, it was interesting because it wasn't in Japanese. I thought they were gonna ask me like previous interviews of other scholarships
Mm-hmm.
in Japanese, but it was all in Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
held by people that also received scholarships from MEXT.
Mm-hmm.
So there were like I think three of
Mm-hmm.
them were Costa Ricans who went to Japan through a MEXT scholarship, and one of them was the Japanese person in charge of the scholarships,
Mm-hmm.
and they were all together, and they ask you a lot of things in your own language, and then they change to English, and because they want to know that how good is your English, so they changed the interview into English, and then they asked me a lot of things, cultural things, and I remember saying that I was doing aikido because back then I was doing aikido, and that really called the attention of the Japanese guy. He was like, "Oh, you like martial arts," and like they like those things when like not that very famous things about Japan, because I think not a lot of people know what aikido is, and and yeah, I think it's really important to just try new things
Mm-hmm.
and search cultural things about Japan,
Mm-hmm.
interesting things about Japan that don't come out in the anime, like.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Definitely. Okay, I think it's time maybe for QR session.
I'm back.
Yay!
Hello.
So for during the session, we received like a couple of questions, and we're like we can accept more like till 12 p.m. Japan time. So you guys have 20 more minutes to ask more questions. And now we're gonna start with the question from Tamarito. Hello. What kind of things do you write for the question? Things do you think you can contribute to Japan and your home country through your experience if studying in Japan?
Oh, very specific.
Yeah, amazing.
I'm gonna flip the question around, okay? Because the best answer for this highly depends on your country and what you're studying. But
Yeah.
then let's change the question around. So for Jocelyn, like what did you write for this, or what would you write right now?
Yeah, well, since I chose broadcasting arts, I remember, I cannot tell you exactly the words because
Mm,
I'm not sure, but I remember writing about making videos for the people to know more about Japan as a culture, as a country, and also making videos of my own country to let Japanese people know about where I come from and stuff. And I just remember that I mentioned that the fact of letting the world know that Japan and Costa Rica exist
mhm.
through videos, because I'm gonna study broadcasting arts. And yeah, I think that was my answer.
Mhm. So for me, this is like what, like 9 years ago, and I'm like an old man right now, but like, so I think I remember it's like answering that, like, so Japan and Singapore are very like closely economically tied. But the thing is, there's always a need for like more people who actually understand both Japan and Singapore, because Singapore doesn't have that many people who actually speak fluent Japanese, and therefore through going to Japan and studying what I want to study, which is actually politics, I get to understand Japanese society. And the thing is that I can be a bridge between Singapore and like Japan in the future. Now, if you want me to be a bit analytical about our answers, notice that this is always the answers that, and this is also as somebody who does a few interviews nowadays, yeah, like the question is always about what can you bring. It's not about what you want. It's always about what can you bring to Japan. What can you bring to your home country? What can you bring to both? And therefore, you can't. There is no like general answer in this. You really have to think about what the best answer is given your country and what you're thinking of studying. Yeah, and this applies for all scholarship tiers, I think. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Austin. And the next question we have from the same person. So, do you take some extracurricular activities in your home country and talk about them for the scholarship? I only have a good score from high school, but I don't have certificates of competitions. So what do you think, Jocelyn?
Well, in my case, I didn't take any extracurricular activities, and I did have really good scores at my school. So I'm not quite sure about
Mm.
that.
I didn't have any very I don't think I put many of my many extracurricular activities inside my application either all the way back then. Now, if you ask me, and this is just my sense, my own opinion, right? Um, your extracurricular activities will be important only in the sense if there is another strong candidate over there, and they had to recommend you one, recommend one or the other over the other. I mean, just because everything else is the same. Generally speaking, your test scores, academic transcript, and your interviews themselves should be more important, and that's the sense I get. Unless, for example, your extracurricular activity is maybe there's a mention of competitions here. Now, if you're doing something math, like very math based, and you get a math Olympiad like medal somewhere, now that's a bit different thing, right? But in general, if it's just like general extracurricular activities, I don't think it's really that important. Mm. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And we have no more questions.
Wait,
So
we have one more question.
okay, let's see this one. You mean the first one?
Yes, no?
Okay.
We can answer that.
Okay, so we have the question from Sherlock. He's asking, "Hello, I want to apply for undergraduate for medicine. Do you think that's a good idea?"
Okay, so I should answer this, and I'm getting a few undergraduate based questions, but I'll be happy to answer. Yeah, so medicine is difficult. Medicine is very difficult. I have to say this. So the difference between for the undergraduate scholarship for medicine is that you are going to get 1 year of the Japanese language and 6 years, not four, because the degree for medicine is 6 years. The same is when you apply for dentistry. You can apply for dentistry. You can apply for medicine. Yeah, and in with me back when I was in my first year in Osaka, there were two people who actually got this scholarship for medicine and dentistry. So it's possible. Nobody stopped me from applying. But let's just add that the both of them were Koreans with who already had an N1 level of Japanese when they came to Japan. Why? Because the thing is that when you're talking about medicine, you are expected in after that first year, right, to have know all the kanji for all the bone names, element names, and these kind of things. So naturally speaking, if you do not have a strong Japanese level right now, you are going to be very disadvantaged when you're actually applying for a medicine or a dentistry degree.
Thank you, Austin. Yes, medicine is hard. Consider it again, guys. Okay, next question is from Wei Lee. For undergraduate students, do scholars have to take the entrance exam before enrolling into Japanese universities? If so, are scholars allowed to select their preferred universities?
I wish that this question came during the undergraduate time, but I guess with no it's better everybody knows, right? So the system for the undergraduate is a bit different from what you're expecting. You do not actually go through a typical examination system. So what happens is that first year when you're in Osaka or Tokyo, that's the preparatory year, right? You get your examination marks for how about your Japanese and all your other subjects. Those are the results that you use to apply to the universities. And what happens then is that MEXT looks at your results and looks at who else is applying to places that you're applying to, and they basically recommend you into the various slot you into universities based on the open slots that they have for MEXT scholars in the university. Then, so the thing is that this answers your second question. You can select your preferred university, yes. And whether you will get it depends on how well you perform against other scholars. And from there may be some universities which actually do an external test or an external interview on top of the MEXT recommendation step. This depends on the university. So the thing is that Yeah, it's very dependent. Generally speaking, it is very rare that a MEXT scholar fails the university what do you call it, like a university
Screening.
mandated like test or interview, though it's very rare, but it has happened before.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I actually want to talk about that. When I applied, I mean, so for getting into the specialized training college, you had, well, I don't know if that depends on the college or what, but at least in mine, you had to take the entry exam just like everyone else. The thing is that you were a mixed scholarship already.
Mhm.
So you're getting the scholarship. Honestly, I failed. I failed the test the first time. And after I failed, they called me and they said, "Can you take the test again?" So I took the test again, and that time I passed. But it was funny because I have a I'm not good with kanji. I'm not gonna lie. I'm terrible with reading and writing. I'm good at talking. Even in Japanese, I can talk, but I cannot really write or read. It's very hard for me. And when I took the test the first time, I went to the interview, and the person that it's now my how do you call it in English? My tanin sensei, my
So like your
guy.
advising faculty or something like that, or like
Yeah,
person
yeah, yeah,
faculty, yeah.
yeah. Like the the one in charge of broadcasting arts, he was there. He made the interview with another guy of the college, and well, they asked me a lot of things in Japanese, and then the second time I took the test again, and after that you get as well the interview,
Mhm.
even if you don't know the results of your test. And the second time I took the interview with the same guys, exactly same guys, and they were like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "I don't know. I didn't pass the test." And they were like, "What? But your Japanese is so good." And I'm like, "No, it's not. I didn't pass the test." So they were very funny because they were like, "Okay, so we're gonna ask you exact the same questions we asked the last time, and we already know the answers, so it's probably gonna be very fast." And then they asked the questions, and we finished super fast, and they were like, "Okay, let's talk about you. What do you think?" of 2010?" And they started like talking
Yeah.
about that, and they were like, "Oh, I hope you pass the test next time because it's so weird. Your Japanese is good." And I was like, "I cannot read, I cannot write, I guess." So yeah, I mean, it's possible that you fail, but even if you fail, they're probably gonna contact you to take the test
Mhm.
again and take it again and again and again and again until you pass, I guess.
Okay, that's interesting. Hmm. But do you know of anybody who actually failed and didn't continue with the scholarship because they didn't like it? No, not to your
No,
knowledge. Okay.
No, but I know people that have been deported because they didn't. I mean, they got the scholarship. They came just to party. They didn't study. They didn't get good grades, so they got deported.
Hmm.
That's all I know.
The same applies for the undergraduates. We do know of cases where people actually failed the preparatory course, and they were sent home because the thing is that basically the scholarship is not for you to come and party. Yeah.
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 Okay, thank you guys. Let's go for the next question. Can scholars take multiple entrance examinations from different Japanese universities? Will all of the fees of the entrance examinations be completely covered by MEXT, or is it only for one trial?
I have to say that I'm not sure whether this refers specifically to the specialized college extending for undergrad. I think that's a whole other different story. Yeah, if you're talking about the undergraduate scholarship, whether you're taking multiple entrance examinations for different universities in the first place, you are not doing the same entrance examination as everyone else. So the thing is, there is no entrance examination fee in that sense for, like, at least for embassy recommended undergraduate scholars. Whether you're going to take multiple entrance examinations, generally speaking, no, because the thing is that you're only going to be you're only going to be slotted into one university by MEXT after your second test in your preparatory year. Yeah. As for extending from the specialist school to undergraduates, I'm not really sure. So Jocelyn, do you, for if you have to extend, if you want to extend from your specialist school to your undergraduate, right? Do you have to take a typical exam, like a entrance examination for university?
Honestly, I'm not sure, but I do think you can take universities, I mean, different examinations from different universities. The thing is that you have to pay, I think. There are some things that you have to pay. I'm not sure what, because I remember one senpai that she was about to graduate and she was taking some examination to go to the university, and they had to pay like a lot of money to take the examination, and if they don't pass, they don't get in, they don't get to extend the scholarship. So I mean, I think you can apply to many depending on what you're studying, depending on a lot of things. So I'm not very sure.
Yeah. Neither am I very sure, because the thing is, I'm not really I can't exactly remember what actually happened. We have one.
I think generally MEXT. I'm sorry. I think generally MEXT doesn't cover any expenses for the entrance, like for the examinations. Like I can talk from the MEXT graduate program.
Okay.
And that what I heard from other senpais, and that's all. Yeah.
We have one more question from Tamalito.
Yes.
From Latin America, do you think we have the same opportunities to get the scholarship regardless of the field? Entrance, like engineer applicant versus manga applicant. Oh, this is a difficult question.
It's weird. Like, I don't know what they think. You have to ask the government. But I can say that people in Latin America have opportunities regardless of the field, because I didn't come to study science, I didn't come to study math, I didn't come to study engineering. I came to study video editing, broadcasting arts. So I'm from Latin America. I got a scholarship, and I had classmates that applied for manga, for music composition, for things very artistic, not just like the science field and technology field, but like artistic careers. There's even one I know. He's from Madagascar, and he got the scholarship for becoming a seiyu, which is like a voice actor.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he's actually at my same school. We're studying in the same building. I study video, and he studies voice acting. So it's there are opportunities for everything. I think they don't choose just medicine or just engineering or just like architecture and stuff like that. I think they do give a chance to everyone.
Yeah, I want to add a bit about this, and from what I have actually observed. So for this is more based on my side as an undergraduate type of thing, right? Generally speaking, in the first place, just apply. There is no point in thinking about chances and in that much detail. You get it or you do not get it. So if you're not, and you are not going to get it if you don't apply, so just apply, please. But to answer your question straight on and directly, right? For the undergraduate side, there is a tendency for Latin American and graduates to actually come in as STEM subject students, for science and technical fields. The reason is very simply that Latin American applicants tend not to have that good Japanese versus East Asian applicants and Southeast Asian applicants. And because Japanese is going to be more important when they value somebody who's actually studying a bunke, an arts and humanities field, right? Naturally speaking, because you don't have that many strong Japanese speakers applying from that part of the world, there is a bit of a tendency for people from Latin America to come in from the STEM field, at least from what I've seen so far. Now, it's so it's not really, I guess, about the country. Maybe it's maybe about like what you can, your Japanese skills, and whether that actually adds on to your like like your study field. And you know what I mean, because the thing is that the truth is that from multiple years of observing, really, if you do a more technical subject, your Japanese test results are not really taken into that much consideration. So this one thing I can really, I guess, comment on a bit regarding like regional differences.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for participating in the session. We are always happy to see the new faces, new participants. And before we conclude our session, let us just talk about us. So this session was brought by Tokyo State of Mind, which is a YouTube channel where we always, every Saturday, we invite amazing guests to talk about life in Japan, the tips, to give you the inspirational stories. Every Saturday we have a new episode. So check out our Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel to always be first to know about our live sessions, our new podcasts, about everything that's going on here. So we'll be excited to see you there. And as you noticed, we're not doing that alone. So we have a lot of amazing people helping us, like Austin. Hey,
Hi.
so Austin is a amazing, helpful president from the MEXT Scholarship Association that you see in this banner. So sign up for their Facebook to know more about MEXT. To once you pass MEXT, you can also follow their page to learn more about the events, everything that is going on with MEXT. And also, like our other partner for this video is Connect Japan, the other website, the other Facebook page and the website where you can track the latest news about the scholarships and other opportunities in Japan. And last but not the least, we're gonna give some words, some final words for Jocelyn, some encouraging words for our viewers, and also about, you can tell about your Instagram so people can follow you as well.
Okay, so I just want to say, guys, never give up. Keep it up. There's always a chance. Also, I want to share my Instagram. Is written, I think, here, yeah, here.
There.
Justica7. I usually post very stupid things, but funny. I promise they will make you laugh. And also, I share a lot about Japan and things that I don't know and surprise me. So if you want to know about interesting things, watch my stories. Also, I have a YouTube channel which is exactly the same, Justica without the 7. And I think that's it. Just follow your dreams and don't give up. It doesn't matter what people think. You can do it.
Exactly. Follow your dreams, don't give up, and always be in a Tokyo state of mind. So
Yeah.
thanks everyone for participating, and we are gonna see you next year in 2021. I hope the freaking virus is gonna be gone and everything is gonna be great for you. Just remember that we're always here to give you more information about MEXT and life in Japan. Thank you guys. See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah,